In this video, I'm going to show you how to install the BAVSOUND Stage 1 speakers and Ghost Subwoofers in an F33. Let's go. What's up everyone, I'm Steve and you're watching F33. Now if you like this video, give a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss when a new video drops. Now the Harmon Kardon sound system in the F33 has always sounded really good. I mean, it's loud enough that I can feel the music even with the top down, and it sounds really clean when listening to it at higher volumes. The bass I always thought was pretty punchy, but I do wish it had a little bit more range. Now one thing I noticed recently though is that a couple of the speakers have started to crackle either at higher volumes or various frequencies, which makes me think that they're on their way out. Now that led me to start researching my options. Now I wanted something that would be a drop-in replacement and completely reversible. I wasn't at all interested in cutting the factory wiring or making additional mounting holes in my door. So while I was researching, I found that there are really only two companies that offer a premium direct fit audio upgrade for BMWs, and that's BAVSOUND and BeamerTech. Now, both companies offer products that cover a full line of BMWs and offer replacements not only for mid-ranges and tweeters, but also subwoofers and amplifiers. Now, I haven't heard any of these in person. The only thing that I've heard from them is on YouTube videos, and if you know anything about YouTube, it doesn't sound anything like they would in real life. Now, after a ton of research, I decided to go with BAVSOUND. They have a few different packages depending on which type of factory system you have, but the installation's gonna be the same. You're just gonna have maybe more, more speakers if you have the Harmon Kardon or less speakers if you have the hi-fi. Now I chose to get the Stage 1 speaker option that covers the mid-range and tweeter, as well as the Ghost Subwoofer kit that replaces the under-seat subwoofers. Now BAVSOUND has amplifier upgrades for both the hi-fi and the HK systems as well, but I wanted to give these speakers a test first. But I do fully intend on getting the brand new Revenant Pro amplifier in the future. Now before we head out to the car, I did want to show what the ordering process was like. So if we get the laptop here. Now on the homepage you'll see a link to the build kit. Now this is going to ask you to choose the year, the make, and the model of the car. Once you give them all the specific options for your car, they will provide you with a list of kits that are available. Now, clicking on each kit will show you detailed information so that you can make a decision that's right for you. So if you want to upgrade just the subs, you can do that. If you want to upgrade just the mids and tweeters, you can do that. If you want to just do the amp and see if that makes the factory speakers sound better, you can do that as well. Now the next section has a couple of add-ons that you can pick from. I chose to get both the universal and the subwoofer kits. Now these kits are pretty cool. They have everything that you need to install the speakers. Now I do have all the tools required for this upgrade, but I thought it was pretty cool that this is a package set of tools in a nice bag that I can keep in my car. And as you know, BMWs only use a few socket sizes, so to have a kit like this in the car is pretty cool. Now at this point, you're just adding billing and shipping info, and I do really like that they work with a firm and have 0% interest payment plans. It's pretty cool when you're spending like $1,400 on a speaker setup. Now the shipping was really quick and everything came well packaged, but as I was going through the box and making sure that everything was there, I did notice that one of the subs was missing. Now at first I thought to myself, great, this is gonna suck. But when I called BAVSOUND to tell them about the missing sub, I was completely blown away by their customer service. They offered me a sincere apology for the mix-up and immediately shipped out the missing sub. Now, I'm used to dealing with companies and, you know, whether it's something that's broken or something that's missing, I usually have to jump through hoops to get anywhere with them. That was not the case with BAVSOUND. I mean, there was none of that. They immediately handled the situation and their customer service was absolutely amazing. All right, so why don't we head out to the car, we'll take a listen to the stock sound, we'll get these installed, and then we'll hear what it sounds like after we upgrade the speakers. All right, so I wanted to give a good representation of what the stereo sounded like before we did the upgrade. So I have a microphone sitting right about here, which is about midpoint for the car, and I'm gonna be playing a song called The Vibe from Artlist. It's a copyright-free subscription that I have for the channel. So I'm gonna crank it up, we'll hear what it sounds like, and then I'll give you my thoughts. So I'm not gonna lie, that sounded really good. I mean, the bass was good and punchy. I could feel it in my seat because, you know, the subs are underneath the seat. But it seemed pretty clear. Now, I know that there's a difference between, you know, it sounds really clear and then hearing really good speakers and then saying, well, that sounds even more, you know, clear. And that's what I'm anticipating after we upgrade to BAVSOUND, the BAVSOUND speakers. So, but just listening to it, you're like, awesome, Harmon Kardon system, great upgrade. So I'm super excited to see, or hear, I should say, what this upgrade is gonna sound like with the BAVSOUND. So why don't we get, we're gonna do the doors first, and then we'll do the mid center channel, we'll do the back, and then we'll do the subs. All right, so we're gonna start over here on the passenger side door. Both doors are the same, but I'm just gonna do one door. The first thing that we need to do is take off this trim on the handle. And I like to start down at the bottom and kind of pop it out. Now, if this is the first time that you have popped this off, it is gonna be extremely tight. But you just basically wanna get the trim tool in there and just kind of work all of these clips out. You want to not go from this top side because you're going to nick up the rubber trim that they have. BMW uses like really, really soft material there and it nicks really easy. This is really on there. All right, and there's a tab down at the bottom. So you're just gonna wanna lift, kind of tilt and lift up. Now you might have some of the clips that stay over on this panel and you might have some that come out on this trim piece. If you have any that are on this trim piece, you'll just wanna take them off, replace them back on here. All right, so you have two T25s. You got one here and one right down here. And I am using, I forgot to mention, I am using the tools in that BAVSOUND kit. Now, if you got a drill, go for it. But I wanted to show how we use the tools that BAVSOUND gives, just in case you don't have a big tool set or anything like that, and you want to order that tool kit. All right, so once you have those unscrewed, take your trim tool, and we're just gonna insert basically in between the panel and the door. And I like to start down here, just kind of insert down at the bottom. And as soon as you get one of those clips released, you can just kind of take and pull it away. Now, unlike the F30 where this is kind of secured, you push it down and then clip in, this is literally clipped on straight sideways. So once you get the clips removed, it's actually gonna come straight sideways. So just be careful that it doesn't fall and that you don't break your door lock. All right, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'm playing one-man camera band, so bear with me here. So you'll have your ambient lighting, and that's located right up here. Just disconnect that, be careful with that. And then grab your metal trim tool. Just release some of these Christmas tree clips. This is your door lock right here. Basically, you're just gonna lift up. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna do this clip, this Christmas tree over here. There's another one down here. And this one goes to your puddle light, right? And then mine has something right here. I'm not quite sure exactly what this module is. It's both on the driver and passenger side door, but there is a clip right here on the side, and this just pulls out. So clip right there, pull out. And I am going to release this last Christmas tree here for the window switches, but I am not gonna take out the window switch because honestly, it's a pain. So what I am going to do, instead of doing that, is I'm gonna lean the door right here. I will reposition the camera, don't worry, but I'm just gonna lean the door up. All right, so as you can see, we have full access to the speakers. There's no reason to take those window switches off. You know, if you're gonna lay your door like that, just have something underneath it is all, so that you don't scratch up the plastic. But honestly, this is pretty sturdy plastic, so I don't even think you need to worry about that. Just don't hang it by the wires is all. Take out a T25. All right. And there's just a little bit of suction on there, but it just pulls right off. All right, and then go ahead and disconnect these wires. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking a pick tool, like a 90-degree pick tool, and I'm going at the very bottom of this plug and just tilting up, and it's releasing the plug. I don't know exactly how this plug is in here, but it is very, very difficult to get out with your fingers. So this yellow one goes over to the tweeter. This blue one's gonna stay, all right? Now for the tweeter, this is held in by a clip up here. And so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop out the clip and lift up. So pop the clip and then lift up. And it's basically gonna sit in this notch. So it's got a wider notch like a U, and then it slips down. And this is the piece that is gonna do that. So it just goes pop and up and out. All right, so we're gonna replace the tweeter first. And basically this is kind of wound around here. We can take this foam out, unwind. All right, we'll put the foam aside for right now, and we will grab our pick tool, and this just comes right out. Actually, you don't even need a pick tool if you just put your fingernails. If you just put your fingernails in here, you can pull this right out. All right, so we can set this tweeter aside. And actually I think what I'm gonna do is let's compare the new BAVSOUND tweeter to the Harmon Kardon tweeter. It's nice, all machined aluminum. All All right, so and if we just put these next to each other, the BAVSOUND one looks awesome. It's a little bit thicker, but it is all machined aluminum. It's got some weight to it. And then the crossover is much bigger on the BAVSOUND versus the Harmon Kardon. All right, so we'll just put the Harmon tweeter aside. We'll grab this one. This just pops right in, just like that. And you'll want the cables to lay so that it's going down towards the bottom. All right, so for the foam, we're gonna put the foam together here, and you can see there's actually a channel down at the bottom here. Okay, and we'll just go laying down. So basically what we did is we went down the side, around the front, hopefully it shows up, and then around back the side and down. And then this part's just gonna hang down on the door. All right, and this is what it looks like in there. It looks awesome. All right, so let's get this on. And again, this goes in. The bottom goes in first, kind of goes down, and then the clip pops in, just like that. And there's some weather stripping on the back here. Just make sure that the weather stripping is over the speaker and not underneath. This is just gonna hang down nicely. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some 3M tape on the back of here, and then just kind of tape it to the door. All right, so now one thing that I'm gonna do that's optional is I'm gonna take some sound deadening material. I'm using Kill Mat, and the box that they give you is, I mean, you've got enough to do like this whole door if you want to. I'm not gonna do that. I'm basically just going to do enough to cover that hole and deaden that panel so that you don't get any rattling or vibration or anything like that. So I'm just gonna cut a piece that kind of represents the size that we'll need. Something like that. And we're just gonna take the back, peel that off. And this is really, really sticky stuff. So you just want to press it on, get it all stuck down. And then once you kind of have it in place, I had bought one of these tools, and this works pretty good for, bigger areas to, really roll it in. But I found actually using the handle works almost better in kind of this small area. So I'm just gonna use the handle here and really get this sealed. All right, so now for this next part, I'm actually gonna roll this window up because I'm gonna make a slice, slice this a few times, kind of fold it back and double up on the sound deadening. So that way it'll be on one side and on the other. But we want to roll up the window just so that we don't cut the window, or if you got tint, that we don't hurt the tint. So we'll just get this rolled up. And then we'll just take our razor blade here and we'll make some slices. This stuff is really gooey, so we're just gonna press this in and press it against the back. Awesome. So now we can hear the panel is really dead. And all this stuff does a pretty good job too, but that really deadens the panel right where the speaker's gonna go. Now, we could go all out and we could take, you know, this foam padding off and do sound deadening material, you know, through the whole door, but honestly, it's gonna A, add a whole ton of weight to the car, and B, I don't see a need for it. Really, we just wanna focus on where the speaker's gonna be so that we don't have any vibrations. So the next thing we'll wanna do is just make a hole in the sound deadening material where the screws are gonna go. So there's one here, just so we can find it later. There's one up top here, okay, and one right here. All right, so now that we have the hole prepared, we will take out our BAVSOUND driver. We'll just compare the two here. So Harmon is on the top, BAVSOUND on the bottom. The magnet on the BAVSOUND is so much bigger. There's a lot more weight and heft to it, and you can feel it's not some paper cone either. Definitely feel the quality. So there is a little foam ring here. You're gonna wanna take that off and transfer it onto the back. And then before we bolt these on, we need to run the wires through. So basically there's a hole in this, in the panel, and if you pull back some of this gummy foam, you'll feel there's a hole where these wires run out through. And that's actually where we are going to run the wires up from inside this hole. So I'm just gonna take this and run these wires up. We'll just seal this back up. All right, and the driver only fits one way. So it actually fits just like this. All right, so let's take our T25s. All right, good. So now we can go through and just kind of tighten it down. All right, and then just pull these cables so that they don't get caught on the window at all. Just make sure they're, you know, I mean, you don't have to make them like super tight, but you don't want a bunch hanging in the back here and then get caught on the window as you roll it down. All right, so we are gonna take the blue, match it up to the blue, like that, and the black up to the black. Okay, and like I said, I'm gonna use a little piece of 3M to hold this on. I don't like to have anything rattle. All right, so I think somewhere right about here works. I'll just put that there. And then I think I'm gonna use some Tesla tape just to tie up these wires a little bit, make it so that they're not flopping around. And I'm actually just gonna tie them to an existing wire loom that's already there. Make my life a little easier. All right, there you go. So we've got it taped up with Tesla tape. We have this 3M'd on. So what I would suggest is that you test this out first before we put the panel on. All right, and then BAVSOUND gives a piece of foam with their drivers. And basically you can take this middle piece out, do whatever you want with it. We're actually more concerned with the ring. So we're gonna take the sticky back off And this is actually gonna go right around the edge of the woofer. This is gonna help just seal the woofer to the door card, just so that there's no sound waves kind of bouncing around inside the door. All right, so now we can start to put the door back together. I'm gonna go ahead and put the window back down. And we can start getting the door card on. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the door card back on, and we're gonna put all these same connections back together. So I'll just put the Christmas trees in here and put this connection in there. And I like to do the ambient lighting last just because it's so short. All right, and we take our door lock. Make sure it's locked or, closed. Slide it in and then just test the lock. All right, and so the last thing that we need to put in here is the ambient lighting. They really give you no length on this. All right. So basically we just line up the top, we get our door lock in there. All right, and then once we have this lined up, I like to start in the top corners first. And then just give it a good pound. All right. Let's test our window first before we start screwing and putting this together. Perfect. And then we'll just test our door lock. Perfect. All right, so now we will switch over to our T20 from the BAVSOUND kit. Just put in these 2 screws for the handle. All right, once you got that on, all you need left to do is put on the trim. And again, it's gonna go down and in. So we're just gonna put that bottom piece that has the little hook on it. We're gonna put that in, line up the tabs. All right, and just check your seams, make sure you don't have any cracks or anything. That's it. Front door's done. All right, so for the center channel, hopefully you are able to see this okay through the windshield. So basically we're gonna take our trim tool and we are just gonna go underneath here. These are just going to unclip. All right, and there's just a bunch of clips on the back, one in each corner, and then one on the front and one on the back. All right, and so here you can see we have our tweeter over here and our mid-range driver there. All right, so we'll take our T15 and we'll pop it in there. And I just like to take my hand here and just protect the windshield. And then just be very careful not to drop any of these screws down there. That would not be a good day. If I told you that these were easy to get to, I would be lying. All right, so we got our mid-range. Just pull that up. Wow, and actually you can see, if you look at it here, the center is actually punched in. I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the tweeter. And one more. All right, tweeter comes free as well. All right, so you can see there's the one, I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not, but the stereo or the cord for the car is there. Now BAVSOUND created a spacer that you've got to put in. So the spacer just kind of goes in like, so the spacer just kind of goes in like that. And then you should have separate boxes. You should have a box with just a tweeter in it, and you should have another one with just one woofer in it. And that's the one, those are the ones that you should use for this. Now what's nice is the BAVSOUND driver has some wire attached to it, so it's gonna make installing it a heck of a lot easier because we're not gonna need to like reach our hand inside there and try to plug it in the speaker. We'll have some extra wiring. But just for comparison, look at the difference here. And you know, obviously this one I think is blown, that center cone's even gone. So big, big difference. And then on this one, we're actually gonna take off this rubber piece just so it fits a little bit better. All right, and this tweeter does look a little bit different than the other tweeters, so you'll definitely know that this is the one for the center channel. All right, so I think what I am gonna do is I am gonna go ahead and plug some of this stuff in here. So there's actually a hole. Let me do this. I'm actually gonna put this ring on it because there's actually a hole that's right here where the tweeter wire can actually fit through there. All right. All right, so we are gonna connect blue to blue. This is such a tight space to work in. All right, so that's in there. And then I think, oh, there's the top to that speaker. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this wire through that little notch. And I know it is super difficult to see through the window, but essentially the notch is right there, and that speaker wire can fit right through. Man, I tell you, this is tight. Perfect, that's fit through there. You know what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and just put these in here. There, now I don't have to worry about it. I can tighten up the rest later. So as far as this crossover, I'm gonna put and sneak this crossover back behind here. There's a good cavity for that to go in, and a slot for the wire to fit through. We'll just pop this tweeter on, just like that. You know, I kind of think that this center channel is the most difficult to do out of all of them. All right, so I am going to pop this on. No trick here. There we go. So right now we have the front soundstage set. Only thing left to do is the rear and the subs. All right, so now we're in the back of the car. Again, this is the HK system, so we have the mid-range and tweeter. If you've got the hi-fi, you just have the mid-range. Now, we've got the top down, obviously. You could do this with the top up, but you're just making it harder for yourself. So we put the top down, and this can actually be done with no tools at all, which is pretty cool. So the first thing that we want to do is we just want to take the seat off, the bottom seat. So we're just going to lift, pop it up, and we're just going to push the seat belts back. All right, and this just lifts and goes out of the way. All right, so we're gonna do this kind of the easy way. You could take a, I think it's like a T25. There's a screw here, this pops up, and then you'll have a couple clips over here, but we're gonna do it without tools. So we're gonna put this seat down, and this is gonna come out. You just put your hand back here, and one over here. Pop it out, and up. There we go. So out, up, and this is what you were freeing here. There's a clip that a lot of times will get stuck in here, so we'll just take that out and put it back on. All right, and don't put any weight on this seat because you have a metal clip down here, so just be careful of that. Actually, I'm gonna put it back up just in case. So the way that we're gonna do this is there's clips right here, down in the corner, one right here, and another one like right up here. So to get this free, we're just gonna take our hands, put it right here. You can kind of feel the clip, and just pop that out. Okay. All right. And basically the way this works is there's a bunch of kind of male tabs that go into female tabs. And so once these clips are free here, we kind of pull down and then out. Now there's some wiring that's right over here that we're gonna need to take care of before we can actually fully remove it. And I'll show you that once the panel's out. It's gonna be super hard to show you that with it in. It's just, it's super dark back there. So there we go, there was one right in the middle there. So now, there we go. So this just is gonna lift down. All right. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and disconnect a couple of these here. All right, and I lied about no tools. I need a pick tool to get this cable out. I don't know why these cables are in here super tight. And there is no way of getting these out, at least in my car, without a pick tool. There we go. All right, so now that this panel's free, I can kind of show you what I was messing with. So this is for the speaker, and this is for some electrical. I don't know, it's actually that same box that's in each of the driver's doors. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm actually gonna take a picture of that and look it up, and maybe I'll put it in the video if I find out what that is. And then here's your ambient lighting. So speaker wire obviously connects to the mid, and your ambient lighting's right here, just pulls out, and then this box just pulls out. So we're gonna work on this probably on the rear deck lid. I'll put down like a blanket or something like that so I don't scratch the car. But essentially the mid, same deal as all the rest. We're just gonna unscrew it. This tweeter though is actually glued in. I'm not sure why it was glued in. Maybe they were experiencing rattles back here or something like that. So we actually need to pick the glue out, and it looks like there's only 3 spots of glue, so it doesn't look too bad. But we'll have some glue to deal with, so it's a little bit different. But other than that, I mean, super easy. We just swap out these speakers and pop it back in. Again, no need to do anything, you know, no tools, obviously besides the pick tool to get that one cable out, but really, really easy. So let's go over to the deck lid and we'll swap out these speakers. All right, so the mid-range is gonna come out just like all the rest. It is a T20. We're just gonna use the right angle pick tool that came from BAVSOUND and just pick some of that glue out. The glue is only in 3 spots, so it's not too bad. Now you can glue the tweeter, the BAVSOUND tweeter back in if you'd like to. I am not gonna do that. I have heard that the BAVSOUND fits tighter than the OEM, so I'm not too worried. We'll see how it fits, but I'm not intending to. Just gonna get the rest of this glue off here. Some hanging out. All right, so let's just lift the tweeter out. It's gonna come out just like all the rest. There we go. And this lifts out. And then we will take our T20. I tell you, having the convertible and doing this upgrade, it's so much easier than doing it in the coupe, in the 4 Series coupe. There's just so much more headroom. I mean, I'm 6'2", and I can't imagine fitting back there trying to do all this stuff. Just think it would be kind of a nightmare. All right, so again, same old mid-range and tweeter that we've found before. So we'll just set that aside. Now you can deaden this panel if you want. I'm not going to. This is like a, I don't know, it's like a particle board, and it's already really dead. Plus it has this sound deadening foam. It's really dead. I'm not even gonna bother sound deadening that at all. I think we're gonna be fine with that. So we will take our BAVSOUND driver. These look nice. These look really nice. We do not need this foam ring. That's only if you're mounting it behind, but we're actually mounting it straight on. What we do need, however, is that foam padding. So I'll get one of those out. And again, you don't need the middle. Do whatever you want with that, but we do need the ring. I'm just gonna carefully put this on. This is super sticky. So I feel like anytime it touches, that's where it's staying. All right, perfect. All right, so we'll put this on here. Let's see how it fits. Only goes on one way. There we go. All right, so it goes like that. Last one here. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Taught my daughter that not too long ago. She was helping me work on the car and teaching her how to remember which way's tight. All right, that is in. Let's get our tweeter. All right, I'm just gonna pop it in. This one does fit a little bit more snug than the OEM, so it's probably gonna be a lot better. We don't need to glue it. Now we won't be able to use that to put this capacitor in or crossover in. It's too big. So again, I'm gonna take some 3M and I'm just gonna secure it here. I'll do that once I get kind of these wires routed here. I'm just gonna put them underneath the foam. Put the black up here. Just tuck these in. Actually, I think I'll put the crossover right about there. Now let's put it right here. That's pretty secure. All right. So we'll leave our one wire exposed to hook into the car. And that's it. This panel's good. So let's get it over, pop it back into the car. And then once I get the other side done, we will come back. I'll show you how to put the seat in. I got a cool trick to putting the rear seat in. Usually it's kind of a pain because of the belt buckles, but I got a good trick for you. All right, so I already have the speaker wire connected because I was testing it out before I got this all put together. I'm just gonna shove the rest of the speaker wire behind the foam padding, get those other two connections connected. Well, they don't like to give a lot of room for the ambient lighting, I tell you what. All right. So now the way this is gonna fit is, the easiest way is you have a clip here and here, and then one in the middle. The easiest way for me was to kind of line up this clip, the hole for it's like right there, and this one's like right there. So I kind of tuck these tabs up, all right? You gotta be careful that the one clip on this side likes to get hung up on a rubber like grommet or seal or whatever that is. So now it's just really punching those clips in. Getting it all lined up. And then down here, down by the bottom trim there, this will just fold into that. There we go. That is in. Look at that, no tools. All right. So now with this, there's a little pin here. This is gonna fit in right by where this seat hooks in. So this is why we had to lift up and out, or rather out and up. So this pin is gonna fit in right here. So I'm just gonna put this in. Feel it slide in there. Then we just push this in, Tuck the leather in. There we go. That's it. There we go. Now, let's get that rear seat in. All right, so now the trick is to get the seat belt. If I can grab it without dropping it. We're gonna put it through and buckle. All right, we're gonna do that on the other side. Put it through and buckle. All right, so now we just can pull those seat belts through as we push this in. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Easy. All right, and so that finishes up the BAVSOUND Stage 1 speaker upgrade. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle the underseat subs. All right, so the sub is gonna be super easy. All we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna lift the seat up. And then I like to start in the front, so we're gonna move the seat all the way back. All right, now there are clips in the front that you need to release. All right, so there are clips in the front that you need to release. So the first one is right up here, and basically the way you do it is you just lift up in the middle. Sorry, my hand's in the way. And then this slides up. You're gonna do the same thing over here. Put your finger in the middle part on the tab, and it slides forward. So you're basically just pulling up. It's like this. You're gonna pull up in the middle, and slide forward. All right, so now you're left with 2 bolts in the front, and those are gonna use a T50. I'm gonna use the one included in the BAVSOUND toolkit. Just gonna go ahead, loosen these up. They're not too bad. The torque spec on these is 42 Newton meters. Now we're just gonna do this other one. All right, once you break them free, you can really just use your fingers to get them out. All right, now that we got those 2 front out, we're going to slide this forward all the way. All right, so in the back, we got the same thing. We have to release this one clip. Now this one is kind of a little bit of a pain. There's a tab that you need to press in right here, and I'll show you this once we get it out. And then once you press that tab in, this will kind of slide out. It's not the easiest to work with. There we go. This is just gonna slide out. So there's a tab right here that you're pressing down, and then you're gonna kind of pull out. And in the back here, you can kind of see there's the 2 tabs that lock it in place. And this is the one that you're pushing down. Now the other side you don't need to remove. You can if you want. This one comes out just like the ones up front. Just slides right off. You don't need to remove that one though. There's no bolt underneath. So in the back here we have 1, 2, and 3 T50s to remove. And this subwoofer should really take you about 5 minutes maybe. All right, so now that we have the bolts removed, we can literally just take the seat and rock it backwards. All right, so now you're gonna take the T20 that's in your BAVSOUND kit, and there's 4 screws. There's one here, here, and here, and you're just gonna release those. One thing I like too about this BAVSOUND kit is the driver is magnetic. All right, so this cover is gonna lift off, and there is your OEM sub. All right, so there's 2 ways to do this. The sub is actually in an enclosure here. If you can see, it's in kind of like a plastic enclosure. Here's the frame. And then here's a plastic enclosure, and then here's the sub. You can remove this plastic enclosure altogether and do the sub swap outside of the car. I think it's easiest, and probably what most of you are gonna do, is just do the sub swap straight in here. There's really just 4 more T20s underneath the carpet. There's another one here, and another one right back here. It's really easy. I don't see the purpose in, you know, taking this whole thing out and then putting it back in again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove these 4 T20s. And if you don't have a lot of room, you can use that smaller driver, you know, if you had trouble getting your seat back or something like that. But there's tons of room in here. You can just use the regular driver. Okay, so now there is a plug, and the plug is right here. Hard to show on camera. So you're gonna wanna take a pick tool, and there is a little tab that you're gonna press in, and then you'll pull the plug out. So it's gonna be really hard to show on camera, but I'm just taking that right angle pick tool from BAVSOUND. I'm going to press the tab in, and this comes out. So here's the plug. It's orientated like this. Okay. And basically you're just taking a pick tool, you're going right in here, and you're pressing that tab in and then pulling the plug out. So now the sub is free. Now you may have trouble, you know, you may think that it's still screwed in or whatever. It's actually just suctioned in with the sealant that they use, but it'll pull out. So this rubber gasket here just kind of seals to the bottom. But that's it, there's the sub enclosure. All right, so now we're gonna take our new BAVSOUND sub. Man, look at how nice this looks. This thing looks amazing. It's kind of next to the OEM, like the difference is huge. It's got a lot more heft to it as well. Really, really nice quality. So, and it's got a nice foam back on it, so that should seal up nice. So now we're just gonna take this and we're just gonna slide it in the same way that the OEM was. Just kind of get it under the carpet here. And you'll see that tab where it plugs in. Just line up that tab. That's gonna make it a whole lot easier to get everything situated. All right, so now we just take those T20s. And I like to start them by hand, just so we don't strip them out. It's going into plastic. Man, I wish this sub was more visible than it is. This thing just looks awesome. But alas, it's under your seat and you'll never see it. So don't tighten it down all the way until you have all 4 kind of tight, then go back around. All right, so now we want to plug this in. And I like to do a sound test before I button everything up, just to make sure that it's all good. All right, so the cover is just gonna fit right on top of these black posts here. And I went ahead and cleaned up mine before putting it back on.
All right, so now that we have the cover in place, the only thing left to do is rock this seat back, line it up with the holes, and you're gonna see in the rails, you'll see kind of a scratch point to where the screw needs to sit. So that way you know exactly where the seat needs to go. So I'm gonna back the camera up here so that we can get the seat in place, and then we'll tighten it up. All right, so we have the seat kind of in place, and I lined it up with the second hole. Here's one hole here, and there's the second hole where it actually was. And you can see the scratch marks in it, so we're just gonna take a bolt, we're gonna go in. Now, I don't like to tighten these down until we get all 4 of them in place. That way we can make sure that the seat is aligned properly. And then per BMW spec, you should be renewing these bolts. You shouldn't be reusing the same ones, but I'm reusing the same ones. All right, so I'm just gonna tighten this a little bit so it doesn't slide around too much. I got the front what I think is lined up. It's on the scratches where the bolts were originally, the marks. Okay. So now we're just gonna go ahead and slide the seat forward. All right, so these back ones look pretty well lined up. Just gonna go ahead and thread these in. All right, tighten this down a little bit with this one. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench, get it as tight as you can. I mean, it's 42 Newton meters. It's pretty tight, but it's not, you know, it's not crazy, but I do recommend using a torque wrench. And again, we're setting it to 42. All right, so now that the back's tight, we can throw on the cover, and you're just gonna wanna make sure that those 2 prongs kind of fit and lock into the seat rail. Put it down and slide forward to lock it in place. Just like that. And if you took off this other one, this is just going to slide on. All right, so now we can put the seat all the way back so that we can torque up the front. All right, and then these covers, I'm just gonna slip right on. And that's it. That is how you install the BAVSOUND Ghost Subwoofers.
All right, so now that we have the BAVSOUND Stage 1 speaker upgrade and Ghost Subwoofers upgraded, let's hear how it sounds. I'm super excited to listen to the clarity and crispness that BAVSOUND claims. Let's see if it holds true. All right, so I don't know if it came through, you know, with YouTube compression and all of that, but holy cow, was that amazing. I haven't been this excited about an upgrade in a very long time. The bass was super deep, crisp, and clean. I mean, it hit and dropped. It wasn't one of those, you know, bass hits that kind of lingered on and was distorted. I mean, it was super clean, super deep. The highs were crisp,
It's almost like, you know, the HK system sounded really good, but it's almost like somebody took the pillow off that was covering the speaker, for lack of a better analogy, and then just suddenly you hear how it's supposed to sound, how the song is meant to be heard. I mean, this sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, the pillow is really the best, you know, or a blanket or something covering or muffling the sound, and just taking that away and just how clean this sounds. It also seems to have a better sound stage, meaning that the sound seems to come from the center, and then you can hear individual, you know, parts of the song coming from different areas of the car, the way it's meant to be. I don't think that the stock speakers, as good as they were for stock, I don't think that they could represent the music well enough for you to get a decent sound stage. Now, the upgraded Revenant Pro amplifier and DSP, that's supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to even help further the sound stage in your car, as the DSP is actually tuned for your specific type of vehicle. So if you have a 3 Series, 4 Series, X5, something like that, the DSPs are tuned for the vehicle. So you should get an even better sound stage. Now, what's cool as well is that this is with the top down that it sounds this clean. I can only imagine that when you have the top up, you know, the sound is more contained in the vehicle, and it should sound even better, honestly. But you know, I drive this with the top down 99% of the time. The only time I put the top up is for really, really long road trips, just so that I don't, you know, end up at my destination with a complete burnt head, or if it's raining or something like that. But we have 2 vehicles, and so usually with both of us working from home, this sits in the garage unless, you know, we just want to have fun or whatever. So I'm going to be listening to the speakers mostly with the top down, and holy cow, this sounds good. I am completely satisfied with this purchase, and there is no rattling, no, you know, distortion, nothing. I mean, this is super clear. I can't wait to listen to some of my you know, favorite artists. I have some music with live concerts. I'm curious to see how all of that sounds as well. So let's have another listen. I'm going to crank it up a little bit more, and then we'll end the video and go with the final thoughts. Man, when that bass hits, that's awesome. And again, the song that I'm using is The Vibe, and it's from Artlist. So if you're an Artlist subscriber, go check it out. It's by Ben Fox. He's got some good stuff on there. All right, so why don't we head out to the deck and we'll get our final thoughts.
Now, as you saw, installing the BAVSOUND Stage 1 speakers and Ghost subwoofers in the F33 is really easy and should only take you about a couple hours to complete. Now, these speakers do have a break-in period before they're at their peak performance, and BAVSOUND says that's right about 12 hours. But right out the gate, they sound amazing. There's already so much of an improvement, and I can't wait to hear how they sound once they're fully broken in. Now, like I said, I'm always also looking forward to swapping out that stock amp with the Revenant Pro amplifier and next-gen DSP. Now, that amp puts out 1,600 watts, which is absolutely crazy, and the DSP is tuned for your specific car. Now, as always, I put links in the description below to all the products and tools used in this video today. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, smash it if that's what you're into, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless.